every single time choose courage. And the more you do it, it is like a muscle. The more you actually do it, the more it feels normal and natural. But you can't get to that place until you actually move through the discomfort and take the action anyways without giving in to your people-pleasing or self-sabotaging tendencies. You're listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I'm your host, Jill Perrick, a business and mindset coach who specializes in imposter syndrome. If you feel like you're not as smart, capable, or worthy as you actually are, and that someone is going to find you out, then you've come to the right place. I went from being a struggling government worker, working my coaching business on the side, but feeling unworthy and burnt out, to making multiple six figures helping women overcome imposter syndrome so they too can sign clients, make bank, and have the business or career of their dreams. I am nothing special. I have a stuttering disability, ADHD, and I struggle with anxiety and depression. So if I can learn how to feel good enough and overcome my inner imposter, then so can you. Let's dig in. Hi, queens. Welcome back to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I am your host, Jill Perrick, and we are on Episode 2, the second installment of the Fraud to Five-Figure series. If you did not listen to last week's episode, that episode was all about stepping into big fucking deal energy and being the leader that everybody wants to pay. So make sure you go back and listen to last week's episode before you move on to today's installment. And today we're diving into secrets to getting paid when you post and being fully unfiltered in your content. So let's fucking get into it. When you are wanting to be someone that is paid well and somebody that gets paid from her content, these are some of the principles and some of the things that I really stand by when it comes to creating content that actually works, that actually activates your potential clients, not becoming stagnant or stale or boring or doing the same thing that everybody else is fucking doing. And now listen, here, okay. Listen, I do love using content prompts, okay? Like that is something I do for my clients. I create content prompts every single month. We have a content party. We go through these content prompts every single month and we have like them in certain categories like expert, transformational, influential, etc. These are the 3 kinds of content that I've created inside of my content course, Unfiltered and Filthy Rich, which you get access to whenever you're in any of my containers, such as the From Imposter to Empowered program or the Fraud Squad Mastermind or my one-to-one coaching. And in my content course, Unfiltered and Filthy Rich, we have these 3 key types of content that you utilize to create activating content for your potential clients, to see who you are as a representation of your brand, to get to know you and what you stand for and who you are, and will lead them to the decision of working with you. So we want your content to be something that you post and you get paid from, and the goal that we have is shortening the time between somebody consuming your content and them deciding to work with you, right? Like that's it. If you really think about posting content and it being a core piece of your marketing, then what the ideal goal is to just speed up the process between somebody seeing your content and consuming it and then deciding to work with you. And we want this decision to be made faster in your potential client's brain. And that means that they have to feel like they know you. They have to feel your power through your content. And they also have the desire to be seen, heard, and understood. So we want to ensure that we are covering these things when we are creating our content. And it sounds like a lot to think about, but ultimately, I want you to think about your content as the storefront for your business, right? When business owners, online business owners, are not prioritizing their stories or their feed content, I'm seriously like, what the fuck are you doing all day? Like there are so many things that you are probably doing that aren't actually moving the needle if you're not doing these things. And if you're not seeing the results that you want, but you're not prioritizing content, then actually what the fuck are you doing? Like we need to rein that in because your content is your storefront. It is how somebody decides to work with you. And the goal whenever you come into any of the containers that I have is to shorten that time between somebody seeing your content and somebody deciding to work with you. So content is just a non-negotiable to me. So if you are somebody who is growing your business, you're working with clients, you're making that money, but you're looking to make more, you're looking to have those 8K to 10K months, but you're thinking like, okay, I already show up, I already post content, then you need to listen to this episode because this is going to be the episode that's going to help you turn the dial up on the heat, help you feel like you have even more to say and step even more into your power when it comes to your content. And the first thing that I want to say about that is people that are creating really good activating content, people that are bringing in 8K to 10K a month plus, always have something to say. always have something to say, and you are potentially struggling with this in terms of I don't know what to say. Like sometimes I show up and I'm like, what the fuck do I want to say today? Or you stress about what topics am I going to cover today? And I'm not going to tell you some generic advice to have content pillars or any of that stuff, even though that those things can be useful, okay, right? Like we've talked about content prompts and all that stuff, but I'm going to tell you that you always having something to say is simply just not giving a fuck if it's been said before or if you've even said it before. And why I think that this key thing to think is so important is because repetition really does matter and people are not as focused on you as you think that they are. I had a client talk about some of the repeat content that I've created, and here's the thing. I didn't spin out. I didn't make it mean anything. Like she was saying, like, I've seen your repeat content and like I think it's really cool that you are so repetitive with the things that you think and the things that you say, but like I know that because she's a client, she is paying hella attention to everything that I'm doing, right? But I know the majority of people aren't doing that, right? So this person is actually learning from me, so that's totally okay. But the thing is that potential clients and people in my audience who have the potential to become clients, which are potential clients, Jill, but they're not paying that much close attention. Like they don't give a fuck if something has been repeated before. They're not even noticing. They're doing their own thing. And even if something has been said before, because I have not said it before, I'm saying it in my own way, I'm sharing it, and this is something that you just need to get the fuck over because people are getting so caught up in, well, this has been done before, this has been said before, somebody used this title before for a group program, whatever the fuck it is, and the thing is, nobody can do it like you. Nobody can say it like you, nobody can format it the way that you format it, nobody can run your coaching business the way that you run it or run your container the way that you run it. No one can say the thing that you're saying exactly like you, and that is your superpower, as cringy and cheesy as that sounds. And again, you always having something to say is you realizing that you have to not give a fuck if it's been said before, not give a fuck about who has said it before, and truly staying in your own lane when it comes to creating your content. And that means like not even spending time thinking about the people that are creating content. And that means being focused on you and your content and focusing on how the truest version of you is going to be expressed, right? Like your hot takes, your opinions on your niche, your opinions on your beliefs, whatever it is, we want to hear it and we want to hear it from you, and nobody can say it and share it in the way that you can. Repetition is queen, and the women that are bringing in 8K to 10K a month are repetitive without overthinking it. They are not asking me questions like, am I repeating myself too much? Or like, they are not asking me questions like, am I repeating myself too much, right? Am I this? Am I that? No, this is just what's required. And if you're like, but I'm bored, okay, would you rather make a lot of money? Or would you rather satisfy your ADHD dopamine deprived brain instead of seeking that dopamine someplace else, like in a chocolate bar or some shit, instead of realizing that you run a business and that there is so much room in your business that can satisfy your ADHD brain. You can do things in your own way, but just you having an ADHD brain, I have it too, it does not change the principles of marketing. It does not change the way that our brains are made, right? When it comes to the way that we take in information and the things that really like excite us, right? And when you are speaking to your audience, you're speaking to their subconscious mind, and repetition is always going to be queen. It always will be, even if your potential client is neurodivergent, right? Like even so, we all actually need that more because we forget shit all the time, right? So we need to hear things over and over and over again. And the thing is, nobody is paying that close attention to you that they are noticing when you are repeating your content or saying the same thing over and over again. You are just getting them closer and closer to deciding to work with you, right? And this is something that's never going to go away. Like talking about who you are, your brand, your story, repeating your power statement that I teach to all my clients in terms of each individual offer and like explaining who you help and how you help them, the core of your offer, and how that has helped me create and stack so much of my income because I am repetitive in saying this is who I help and this is how I help them in this offer. And that has done so much for me to realize like I don't need to say something fucking groundbreaking every single day. I just need to show up and be who I am today and say the thing, even if I've said it before, because people are watching and they are listening and they are getting closer and closer to deciding to work with me. And the other thing that you need to clean up around this is your people pleasing, because here's what I can see you doing right now. You open up your Canva and your Google Doc, your page, whatever it is, when you're writing a caption, and it takes you for fucking ever to create the caption, to create the Canva graphic, to put words on the Canva graphic. And why? Because you are writing something down and then you're hitting the backspace button, you're hitting the delete button because you think it sounds too much. You think it sounds too much. You think it sounds too harsh. You're being too direct, too honest, or too simple. You think it sounds like this or that, and I need you to drop this. And how you know that you've dropped it is think about how you are when you're having a conversation with your clients, when you're having a conversation with your friend or something. When you are just being yourself and you're just putting it out there, that is how you know that you drop the people pleasing, because you're just being who you are without running it through the filter of what if this person reads this? What if this person thinks this? Blah, 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 blah. It needs to be so authentic to you and so true to you. And that is going to attract the best fucking clients, the right clients that are just people that you fuck with and that you're excited to work with. And it doesn't mean that the people that want to work with you are going to be really similar to you. So for example, I have a couple clients who are from the corporate world who abstained from cursing or swearing in their content, and that is perfectly fine. They're able to do that, but that did not deter them from working with me, because they are attracted to my power, to my honesty, to who I am and how I show up. So I don't have to pretend to be somebody else to attract those clients. And when I talk about people pleasing, I talk about it in the way that you are trying to manipulate the way that your audience sees you, because you don't want to be seen as a bad person. You don't want to be seen as hungry for money. You don't want to be seen as one of those coaches that charges up the ass for her coaching, right? You don't want to be seen as somebody who's a part of the coaching industry, whatever the fuck that means, right? You don't even realize that you are people pleasing in your content, because if you are really zeroed in or really fixated on being perceived through your content and how somebody is going to read your post or whatever it is and think something about you, if you're so consumed with that, you're not speaking your truth. You're not being who you are. If you're overthinking your content, it's probably because of this, because you want to be seen in a certain way, because you fully believe that is the ticket to making money, when the ticket to making money online is being fully fucking you, being fully fucking embodied in the work that you do. And that can be felt. Your truth can be felt. And this is one of the biggest things I see in the clients that come into the Fraud Squad Mastermind when they aren't making the money that they want to make. A lot of the time, their content is still a little bit too nicey nice. It's still using a lot of words, over explaining themselves, when what they really desire is to be fully fucking themselves online, but they're also terrified about how they're going to be perceived. So this is something to think about as well in terms of the principles behind posting your content and being paid from that content and being totally you online. So I want you to clock your people pleasing as you are in creation mode. And even when you're creating Instagram stories, when you get off a call with your coach or when you're feeling really good and then you go to create an Instagram story and you start to open the app and you swipe over to stories, you start typing and you kind of feel like, I can't say that. I can't be that bold, or I can't share screenshots of my income. I can't say this or do that. You start people pleasing. And the thing is that you don't really have to have a person in mind. And sometimes you potentially are thinking what if my client sees this, or my next door neighbor, or my grandma, or my mom, or something like that. But it also can just be this fear of being too much, of going bigger, of saying the bold thing, of inching even closer to success than you already are. And I guarantee that no matter where you are in your business, this always needs to be something that you are paying attention to, that you're clocking, because it happened so quietly for me for a year and a half. I was posting a lot, but I was still being a people pleaser in my content. I got spooked. I was making lots of money, but didn't feel like I knew what I was doing. I had a lot of imposter syndrome about making lots of money, and I ended up really feeling like I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And my content was a reflection of the confidence that I didn't have. And it's a reflection of the confidence that you're feeling as well. So if you're you know what, I've been doing this for so long, I don't know why I feel so nervous about creating content. It's because you're a human being. and you're creating content each and every day for your business, it makes total sense why in your evolution as a business owner, your content is going to change as well. And we just want to make sure that it's not heading down the people-pleasing direction and the being small and realizing that like as you're getting bigger and as you're growing, you're starting to be scared. So you self-sabotage, right? We want it to be going in the direction of that next fucking level in your business. Hey guys, so I just wanted to take a second out of the podcast episode today to tell you that I am loving the Fraud to Five-Figure series. And the whole reason why I'm doing this series is to give you a taste of what it's going to be like for you inside of the Fraud Squad Mastermind, which is my mastermind for women who are making between 3K to 5K a month and are ready to step into those 8K to 10K months. This mastermind is perfect for you if you are a coach or online service provider looking to unfilter herself even further and therefore unfilter her content. You want to become more visible and become influential in your niche. You want people to reach out to you regarding your niche and have you on their podcast to talk about it. You want to be asked to speak in groups and get paid to be on panels, get paid to speak. You want to be the go-to girl, the leader for the unique work that you do and to be recognized as such without self-sabotaging because of the fear of success. And you really do want to step into that next level of visibility and grow your audience so you can bring more clients into your offers. And you want to scale your business to 8K to 10K a month. You want to do that through opening new channels, aka new offers. You want to solidify your offer suite and to feel really clear about how to sell each one of your offers. You want to raise your prices and be paid like the leader you know that you are. And you also want to work with me, your coach Jill, because you know that I combine the mindset with the strategy and I am the imposter syndrome queen. And I'm going to help you up level without the self-sabotage, without the imposter syndrome that tells you you're not good enough, that you can't be bigger, and that more people aren't going to want to join your offers, that fear that comes along with getting your clients' results at a higher level, and everything that just comes with growing and scaling your online business. The Fraud Squad Mastermind is going to be your home to do all of this, and I'm going to kick your ass a little bit into your next level. The good news about the Fraud Squad Mastermind is that we are rolling, so the doors are always open, and when you join for 4 months, and you can join for 4K pay in full, $1,111 for 4 months, or you can do an extended payment plan of $888 a month for 5 months. When you join, you get access to the Fraud Squad curriculum that's going to help you build out your identity and your business to 10K months. You also get access to my 3 courses, which are my content course, my sales course for selling on stories, as well as my course on launching. You get access to the Mastermind Voxer chat, as well as 2 hot seat coaching calls a month. And finally, you get access to my client events, which happen for all my clients, no matter what container you're in. And those are the content parties where you'll create a month's worth of content in just 1 hour, and a monthly subconscious reprogramming breathwork session to regulate your nervous system and acclimatize your nervous system to the next level of your success. To join the mastermind is application only, so you can go to the link in my show notes and apply from the sales page. You can also check out the testimonials, what's included, and if you have any questions at all, you know where to find me. You can send me a DM at your coach Jill, and we'll have a little chit chat and see if the mastermind is a good fit for you and your goals. Now let's get back into the episode. I also think that a really huge key to creating content that people don't talk about a lot, but I always need to highlight, is the fact that you really do need to see yourself as a big deal. You really do have to see your stories as important. You really do have to see like what you're saying is worth saying, because that is something that can hold a lot of people back. Like, I know for me, and we talked about this last week, right? I talked about how for the longest time, I just didn't think anybody would want to hear from me. And I was raised to be really insecure about my speech impediment. I just learned to not talk as much, not say as much, or tell my stories as I got older. And that was something that absolutely carried into my business when I started it. But having an online business means being in self-promotion mode constantly, like being the person that is promoting your services, being the person that is having the audacity, having the confidence to say, hey, I have something to sell, I can help you, and here's how I can help you. So what's really important when it comes to your content is sharing your stories and having the audacity to share your stories and connecting it to your offers and what it is you sell, and thinking to yourself, this story is worth telling, I can see the connection, I have value to put into the world, and this is related to what we were talking about earlier, how like you truly have to not give a fuck about what anybody else is saying. You can't tell yourself it's been said before, it's been done before, because everything has been said before. Like everything's been done, but that does not mean that you have said it before. That does not mean that you don't bring your uniqueness to the forefront. And that is something I really want you to think about, is the fact that like your stories are worth telling and you have value to put into the world. But if you're constantly looking at what everybody else is saying, you're going to tell yourself, I don't have anything interesting to say. And it's like, no shit, because you're consuming content from everyone else because you think it's going to give you inspiration, but instead it's just going to water down who you truly are and the things that you have to say. And going off the conversation around like people pleasing and overthinking your content, what I also wanted to say is like when somebody asks me, how do you share your opinions in this way? How do you not care what others have to say about you or your content, etc.? And like, here's the thing. It's not that I don't care. I am actually somebody who really does care about people and like what they think about me. And I am a people pleaser by nature. I definitely am. But I also know in my mind, like I prioritize the business and the things that are best for the business instead of just satisfying my emotional needs and my very human need for like homeostasis and like belonging and support. And that is what's really important about being a business owner and separating that from your personal identity, having really strong emotional resilience. Like, it's not that you don't feel anything. It's that you're aware that what you're feeling is allowed, but it doesn't need to be reacted to, right? Like, you don't need to react to somebody commenting like she's a scam or something on your Instagram post, right? We've all gotten that before. And if you haven't, you're not being loud enough, right? So it's not that I don't care about what people think of me. I just know that me being courageous is going to produce the result that I want. And I would rather have the result that I want and say the thing that I want to say instead of having attention and understanding from people who were never going to pay me anyways. So when you have that feeling of, oh my God, I don't want to say that, or like, how do I say this in a perfect way? Or you really catch yourself overthinking what you want to say, be courageous. Take the courageous step towards saying the thing, and it's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to start to feel nervous about sharing your wins and your results. You're going to feel awkward about being forward about your services. You're going to be like, am I allowed to say this? Blah, blah, blah. Choose courage. Every single time, choose courage. And the more you do it, it is like a muscle. The more you actually do it, the more it feels normal and natural. But you can't get to that place until you actually move through the discomfort and take the action anyways without giving in to your people-pleasing or self-sabotaging tendencies. Something that I always like to kind of do to personify the experience of courage is pretending that my inner teenager is taking the wheel whenever I want to say something but feel like someone's going to be mad at me, or if I'm not allowed or I shouldn't do this, and I hear that shame voice or my inner imposter, which if you guys have been here since the beginning, you know that I've called her Rhonda for my entire life. So Rhonda is my inner critic, my inner imposter. And when she comes up, I activate my inner teenager in terms of being like, I'm going to rebel against all this shit. I'm going to rebel and do what I'm going to fucking do anyways. I'm going to sneak out, do the thing I probably shouldn't be doing in my head, all these rules. I'm going to say fuck the rules and just do what I want. And the thing is, and I don't know about you guys, but I've always had a good head on my shoulders, right? Like I've always had a good head on my shoulders. I've always had really good morals and really good values. Like when I was a kid, yeah, I did stupid shit, right? But at the end of the day, like I was someone who was trustworthy. I had a good head on my shoulders, and that's what I think about too when it comes to being courageous and saying the thing and leaning into my inner teenager who's just looking to rebel. Like that is trusting yourself that even when you're rebelling, even when you're doing the thing and you're going against all the shoulds that are inside your brain, you know, at the end of the day, you trust yourself and you know that you're going in the right direction by being courageous. And then I really wanted to highlight the fact too that if you're hearing me say like, say your opinions, tell us your opinions, really tell us what you think and what you believe, and you're thinking to yourself, I don't have any unique opinions, Jill, I don't have anything controversial. You probably do. You probably do have a hot take. You probably do have a thought that you have that is not somebody else's thought. And this is called thought leadership. Thought leadership is simply having an influential opinion about something. So whether that's about Coke versus Pepsi, whether it's about your skincare, whether it's like an opinion that's based on your beliefs and what you think and what you know, and whatever it is, like you're allowed to share that. And Also, if you feel like you don't have any unique opinions, again, it doesn't have to be controversial, but do you have an opinion on it, and why do you believe that thing, right? And if it sounds like everybody else, or you don't actually think anything of it, and everything you have to say is just because you heard someone else say it, you could be in a like on or freeze response, which is essentially just going along with what everybody else is doing and saying online to not separate yourself from the pack, to not be seen as different. But that is what's required of you, to be somebody that is a leader, that is paid whenever they post. If you really don't think that you have any unique opinions, you need to do like a social media diet or something. You need to block everybody that you search for inspiration, go for a fucking walk, get your feet into the earth, tap into your own creative juices, tap into your inner knowing, because your content is going to be boring as fuck. It really is. And it's going to be so much harder to sell your services because your content does all the heavy lifting for you. Even if you're not a perfect writer or a perfect speaker, whatever it is, you can still create kick-ass fucking content. And that only happens when you are sharing your belief and your thoughts on the topics that you talk about when it comes to your business, and actually really it coming from your brain, your thoughts, your experiences, and what you know, instead of just somebody else and you telling yourself like, because they say it, I'm allowed to say it. No, you are the fucking leader, and that is how you get paid whenever you fucking post. Okay, and before we end this episode, I want to talk about genuinely giving value. And I always think, like, I have had clients who have stressed out to me, like, I don't know what it means when it says to give value. And like, I feel like I need to give value before I sell, but like, it's really not that complicated, you guys. Like, tell your stories, share what you know, share your experiences, share your client's journey from beginning to end, right? Like, be helpful to somebody who has the problem that you tell them that you solve, right? And if you're not clear on that, that just tells me you're not clear on who you help and how you actually help them. And the thing is, above all else, like above you being a leader, above your business, your brand, your mission, your business still solves a problem. It can be a complicated problem. Like, it doesn't have to be something super simple and super tangible. You can be a mindset coach that helps your clients get sober. You can be a life and relationship coach that helps somebody get over a breakup and manifest their dream relationship. But at the end of the day, you solve a problem for someone. And if you solve a problem, then you can provide solutions and give value and do it in the most organic way possible. And then it doesn't feel like, oh my God, I have to give value. Right? Because how I see it is, I just give value because of who I am. I just give value by the stories that I tell and the things that I say and how I show up. And it does not have to be like giving value and then I'm allowed to sell. Like, I actually think that it is very valuable when I do sell, right? So get this thought out of your head. I have to give value. You are already so valuable. And when you start just organically, like telling your stories, selling your offer, just doing whatever you really want to do and being yourself, that is so magnetic, and that is going to help you create activating content, right? Like, just giving generously and sharing your opinion, sharing your stories, sharing who you are, and know that like who you are is who somebody else wants to be, and they want you to lead them. You solve a problem for them, and nobody can fucking do it like you. Nobody can do it like your brand, your mission. So fucking tell them how. Tell them how you can help them. Tell your stories. Share your voice. It is a fucking requirement as an online business owner. And that is how you create activating content, is doing the damn thing and being your full fucking self online and getting closer and closer to that every single day. It's not going to be perfect. It is never going to be perfect. You're always going to be working on your content, whether it's your graphics, whether it's your opinions, whether it's the fucking font you're using, whatever it is, you are going to be always improving your content, and that is perfect just as long as you're fucking doing it. Okay, so I could go on and on about content, you guys, and that's why I have a content course. That's why it's one of the biggest things that I talk about with my clients. But But we are at the end of this episode, and we are at the end of the second installment of the Fraud to Five-Figure series. I hope you love this episode. Tomorrow we're going to go into the third installment, and that is about making sales and launching as easy as pie and removing the drama associated to both of those things. Okay? I love you guys so much. I will see you on the next episode. And as a reminder, applications to the Fraud Squad Mastermind are open. This is my mastermind for coaches and online service providers who are making $3K to $5K a month. They want to unfilter themselves in their content. They want to get massively visible and become influential in their niche. And they want to make $8K to $10K a month. And you're going to do it inside of the Fraud Squad Mastermind. You can apply at the link in my show notes. I love you guys, and I'll see you next week. Thanks so much for listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. Head to the show notes to learn how you can work with me, where you can buy my best-selling book, You're Not Special, and how to get on my email list for free. Screenshot this episode and add it to your Instagram stories, tagging me at Your Coach Jill. See you next time.